everybody. I'm Siobhan Tuvino, and this is another episode of Hard Hat Legends. And today I have with me Mr. Terry Whittington, and I said your last name right?
Yes.
Okay. And tell me, who are you with?
I am with the Erlen Group, more specifically Radix Quarries.
Okay.
Erlen Group is our mother company, and we are a division of that, which is our quarrying division.
Okay. And what is it that you do there?
I am now the Director of Quality and Sales. So primarily my newest function is to go out and find new businesses or new avenues to be able to sell our aggregates in different markets and things like that. Also, any opportunities to sell aggregates inside the market that we don't necessarily, or that's not traditional.
Okay. What's aggregates?
Aggregates would be like any kind of rock. So
Okay.
Base rock, clean stone,
Okay.
riprap, things like that. If you can build with it, is usually one of our.
I'm sure our listeners know what that means, but I'm not one of your construction people. So yeah, thank you for educating me. So
No
that's very
problem.
cool. Okay. All right, we're going to just jump right in.
Okay.
Okay. What was your first job?
My first job, I was a busboy for a restaurant.
Okay, what restaurant?
It was a restaurant in Maryland called Venetian Palace. They primarily like pastas and pizzas and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that was my first job, my first official job at like 14 years old.
That's really cool.
Before that, it was like cutting grass and those kind of things that
Yes.
I didn't have to get a paycheck for.
Yes. Yes. You didn't get paid for cutting the grass?
Well, I use the term pay very loosely.
Okay. There might have been something in there.
It was my uncle's company, so
Okay.
he usually fed me when we were done.
Okay. Well, there you go. Okay. When you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I went through a iteration of several different things, but one, I wanted to be a truck driver.
Okay.
I've always been obsessed with really big equipment, big trucks. My brother one time called me and he said, "Hey, bro, you remember our first truck?" And I got to thinking, I was like, the little Tonka truck that we had? He was like, "No, the very first thing we ever used as a truck." Well, when I was a kid, we had hedges in front of our house, and the landlord would just cut them like really clean right before the spring hit,
Yeah.
so he didn't have to mess with them again.
Right.
And my brother and I would sit in the hedges and pretend like we were grabbing gears.
Oh, that's so funny and so cool and imaginative. So that's very cool.
I always had something about big trucks, big equipment, and stuff like that. And then as I got older, I had a desire to be an obstetrician. I really wanted to go into the medical field and
Yeah.
deal with babies and stuff like that. And through my life's path, the big trucks came to fruition. The obstetrician did not.
Okay. All right. What jobs did you have before you got into the construction industry?
Well, I was right out of high school, I joined the military, and that just kind of pushed my love of big equipment, and I actually developed the love I didn't have, which was blowing things up.
You are a typical boy.
Yes. If I can make it go boom, loud,
Yeah.
To this day, I'm still obsessed with fireworks. I mean,
Oh my gosh, you are such a man. I have two boys and my husband, and I'm like, maybe not do it this year. He goes, "Are you kidding me?" So
I
no.
love it. I am so obsessed that I have a group of people that we all put money in a pot and buy them wholesale.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And then
Please don't tell my
and then we
husband
just
that.
divide them out. Everybody gets a bundle. So.
That's funny. Okay. So how did you choose the construction industry?
So honestly, when I got out of the military and I moved to Marshfield, I was looking for a job, and I had no marketable skills. I just spent 8 years in the Army, and the only thing I could do was blow stuff up. Of course, I didn't know anything about the quarry industry or any of those things. And my wife was doing hair. She had a client who was an electrician, and he needed somebody to work. He said, I'll teach you how to do it if you want to come apprentice, and I'll pay you to do it.
Okay.
So that kind of got me started in the construction industry, and then it kind of went from there. I worked for him for several years, and then I ended up with my brother-in-law doing sheetrock. So with him, he taught me a lot of sheetrock, and he taught me some plumbing and a couple things like that. And then he got to a point where he didn't want to run a business no more, so I needed actual health insurance. So I got to looking around, and I found Springfield Underground, and somebody was like, "Yeah, they blow stuff up under there." I said, I'm back in the game. You know, so
It is really cool in there.
You know, it is. I applied over there and worked for John Griesemer with Springfield Underground for about 2 years. Ended up leaving that for various reasons, but I ended up leaving there for a while and ended up at Interstate Power Care.
Okay.
So everybody knows, very familiar with Interstate Batteries, and I ended up with Interstate Power Care, which was their forklift division. So I'm a firm believer in God puts you where He wants you.
Absolutely.
I absolutely believe that, and I could tell you many a story of why I believe that. But I was working as a service tech, and I really enjoyed it. I really thought it was going to be my retirement gig. And one day I was headed down to Monette for a service call, and the manager called and he said, "Hey, there is a conference call we all need to be on." Like, what do you mean? He was like, I'm like, I don't do conference calls, you know? And he was like, everybody needs to be on it. Well, long story short, they got on, they said, hey, we are not doing very well as a company, and we are shutting down everything that's not an all battery center.
Oh my.
You have 1 month.
Oh my.
So I was like, I found myself again without a job. Well,
Right.
A couple weeks before that, I actually had a service call at Springfield Underground, and John Griesemer was the one that had to meet me at the gate to take me underground to go work on the batteries. And we got kind of talked and stuff and went on about my way. Well, fast forward after that phone call, my wife, one Sunday, my wife said, baby, let's go to church today. Because we go to church, but we don't go to church a lot, you know, so okay, let's go. So we got up and went to Springfield, my mom, my wife and I. We go to church. After we're done, we got to go get something to eat. You know?
Of course.
Can't go to church and not get something to eat.
Absolutely.
And she says, let's go to Panera Bread. I'm like, okay, whatever, you know. So we get over there, and lo and behold, apparently John Griesemer and his family go there every Sunday. So we ended up running into him again, and he said, hey, how you doing? How's it going at Interstate? I said, well, really, it's not.
Yeah.
And I kind of told him the story, and he said, well, we're hiring right now. You know, kind of hem and hawed. He was like, well, talk it over with your wife, and if you're interested, give me a call.
Yeah.
I said, okay. So we talked about it on the way home, and we really needed to get back to having insurance. And so I applied for the job, and it's been the Quarry ever since.
That's amazing. That is a total God thing, you know.
Is.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
right place, right time.
Absolutely.
And oddly enough, when I got hired back, I got hired to do the same job I was doing before, which was a hand scaler. So basically, my entire job was to get into a genie basket, go up to the ceiling of the mine, and knock rocks off the ceiling all day long.
That's what you did? How far would you go up? Like,
well, from floor to ceiling, and that level of the mine at the time was about 35 feet.
that's kind of scary. Oh.
Just every day.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of scary. Okay, what are some challenges that a young person coming into the construction industry might face?
With the generations the way they are right now, I think some of the biggest challenges children will have coming into it 18, 19, 20 years old is self-motivation.
Yes, totally agree.
Being in construction, you have to have some level of self-discipline.
Yes.
Right? You got to get up and go to work. You know, if you're doing concrete, you may be up at 2 o'clock in the morning to be on a job site at 3.
Yeah.
You know, you maybe get out there and have to work until 5, 6 o'clock at night, or pulling down 12-hour days throughout the summer, you know. So the self-discipline to get up and just get to work.
Yes.
I mean, if you could do that, everything else would be easy. Have the determination to want to be better.
Yes,
you know?
totally agree.
And I think that's where a lot of people in general just fall short. They don't have that drive to want to be more than what they are currently doing.
Yeah, they're just stuck and they just either don't know how to get out of it or don't care to get out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't understand with the construction industry, it's kind of a feast or famine. If you're able to get out there and work, they need you to work. And in the heat of the summer, I mean, you've just got to work what you can, because there's going to be rainy days and there's going to be snow days and you're not going to be able to do it. So take what you can and go. Yep. Okay, do you think that there is a shift in culture that parents no longer believe that their children need to go to college to become successful? We kind of touched on this when you and I talked on the phone.
Yes.
So
I believe that we are in the very early cusp of it, right? I think that we're in a position right now where people are starting to recognize that I don't have to have a college degree in order to be successful, whatever that looks like in that person's eyes. I am an example of that. I do have a college degree in computer technology, but obviously I'm not working in computer technology.
Right.
And I know multiple people. I know somebody who has a degree in bovine science, and we kind of talked about that.
Yes.
He's doing nothing. He can fertilize a cow, but he's not.
He's not doing that right now.
You know? And there's a lot of iterations of that out there. And I don't know what success looks like to everybody else. I know what it looks like to me. And growing up where I grew up at and in the environment I grew up at, this is success.
Yes.
You know, I do a job that I really enjoy. They pay me to do what I really enjoy. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, I am what I would, if 15-year-old me could look at where I'm at, he would probably think I was a millionaire, but we're rich, yes! You know, we made it, you know. But joking aside, he would look and he'd be like, oh my goodness, you've done it.
Yeah.
Awesome, you made it out. You're not a statistic, and you are doing everything you want to do, you can go do.
Yeah.
And this is without, you know, yes, I have a college degree, but it's not what I'm working in. You know, you don't have to go to college. So to answer your question, you don't have to go to college to be successful. And until we can turn that chapter, turn that page to get everybody to understand that, then once we do that, I think we'll start seeing a lot more growth. I think somebody told me not too long ago the average age of a construction worker is like 47 years old.
That's crazy.
You know, this is a young man's game.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah, because you know, as we get older, I mean, it's harder to do the job. So
it hurts getting down and
absolutely
crawling around, and your knees hurts.
Yeah.
And, I mean, and if you have a child right now that had the drive to be in construction, I really genuinely believe that in less than 10 years, he would be upper management. And I say that because I myself have been with the Radix Quarries for 7 years. It'll be 8 years this month.
okay.
I started off in the mine and did every job in the mine. I was a hand scaler, a driller, a blaster. I ran the excavator. I mean, every position they had in the underground, I did. Now I'm in upper management.
So you worked your way up and you showed what you could do, and so they handed you the responsibility.
Yep.
That's amazing. I hope that young people hear that. It's possible. It's amazing. Who has been a mentor or an inspiration for you?
I draw, honestly, most of the inspiration is within myself.
Okay.
And that, I know that sounds odd, and I hope that does not come across as egotistical.
No, not at all.
But I know what I want,
Okay.
and I won't be stopped.
That's cool. I like that.
You know, so but I do look at other people, and I see what people have done well, and I try to emulate it. I see what people have done bad, and I try not to do that.
Stay away from that.
I had a good friend, and when I was in the military, his name was Hunter Drain, which is a very odd name, but nevertheless, he said something one time that has stuck with me. Now, keep in mind, I met this guy in 1996, and it has stuck with me ever since. And he said, my daddy always told me you can learn something from the dumbest SOB. And I thought about that for a while. And at the time, he was critiquing our chain of command. But I thought about that for a long time. And some of my greatest life lessons were from people, for all intents and purposes, society would look at as a piece of crap.
Oh my.
Just being honest. And I mean, not to get overly personal, like I could put my dad in that category. And I don't want to go too deep and get too personal, but my dad was not a good person. And I can tell you a lot of stories of me seeing things as a kid that I should have never seen. One example of that is I watched a prostitute overdose in my dad's living room.
Oh my goodness.
You know, when I was like 6 years old. So I experienced things like that. So for all intents and purposes, I couldn't stand my dad. Like, I absolutely hated that guy. He showed up to my high school graduation drunk. you know, and I didn't even give him a ticket, but somehow he still managed to get in, you know, and it just pissed me off even more.
Yeah.
And when I took college later on in life, and in my English class, they had me write a paper on somebody who influenced my life the most. And I wrote about my dad, and I titled the paper "The Greatest Dad I Ever Had," the greatest dad ever. And I know as the teacher read it, and I had some family members read it, it was like they're going through and they're thinking, why is this the title?
Yeah.
Well, the premise behind it was, my dad was exactly what he needed to be to me for me to turn out to be the man that I am now.
Yeah.
You know, and when you can take that kind of perspective and you can look at it that way, it changes your life, right? It's a lot of your life is all about the perspective that you have, right? And most people choose to take a negative perspective on life. But if you look at things and you look at the positive that come out of it, so he's just one example of that. I had a squad leader, same way, he was a piece of crap. I learned how I wanted to lead, you know? So when I got my own squad in the military, my guys loved me, not because I was their buddy. I was hard on them. I disciplined them like I disciplined anybody else.
Right.
But I could ask them to do anything and they would jump out and go do it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's that kind of things that I've taken in my life that I learned from more than anything else. So when it comes to the whole mentor, that's why I look within myself. I mean, the standards that I hold myself to is so high on so many different levels, from my work, my integrity. The only thing that's not quite there is my eating. I need to get that there. But
we all do.
you know, but everything else, I mean, I could literally sit here and spend hours telling you stories of me holding myself and my children to a higher standard.
That's amazing.
You know, and it's, some people think it's kind of crazy, and when we get off camera, I'll tell you one of the stories. Definitely not something that wouldn't get recorded. But I just hold myself to that standard, and I've read books and stuff like that on different kind of leaderships and mentors and all this stuff, and I've never had it. And even in some of these books, I'm like, yeah, I would have done way more with less.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Okay. What is the best thing about your job? What's your favorite thing about your job?
This right here.
Okay.
The networking, the talking to people. My dad referred to it as the gift of gab. You know, and
you do have that. You are very, I mean, I think you can reach anybody at any level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, that comes from my life, right? So I've been around so many people and so many different lifestyles, and it gives me the opportunity to be able to relate to people in so many different ways.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked to everything from reverends, pastors, gangsters, thugs, Klansmen.
Oh wow, are you serious?
Dead serious. I sat and had probably about an hour-long conversation with a guy who was in the Klan.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, so I can relate to a whole lot of people in a lot of different ways, and that has helped me excel in my job. I mean, it don't matter where I'm at. And the one thing I love about it is I'm genuinely always me.
Yeah.
You know, I see people, they get in one environment and they change how they are. And most of the time, I am just me, having fun, enjoying myself, smiling and goofing off a little bit. You know, I just, you know.
Take me or leave me.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, so that's what makes my job fun. You know, one day I may be talking to a guy in a ditch digging a hole, and next time I may be in a suit somewhere talking to somebody in an office. But I love those experiences because you can learn something from every single person you encounter if you're open to learn that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Do you have any ideas on bringing people into the trades?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we have to take a step back.
Okay.
Right? Of course, growing up in the 80s and the 90s, college was pushed so hard. I mean, I remember Nancy Reagan on TV pushing college and higher education and all this other stuff. And it served its purpose at that time. You know, we needed people to go to college. We needed people with higher educations. However, we're at a point now where that role has reversed and we now need people in the trades. Well, how do we do that? I think we take a similar tactic, right? They were of course, they were advertising on TV and all these other things, which we can do that, but I think we need to get to the lower levels. You know, we need to start getting kids in high school and being able to communicate with them and talk to them about the trades and break down the stigma of, well, that's just a bunch of freaking tatted up drunk people that can't get a job anywhere else.
And that's not the case, is it?
No, not even close. You know
No.
what I mean? And then there's also the stigma of, well, you can't make any money in construction. You know, there's a lot of people who think that, you know, and I'm like, maybe 15, 20 years ago, that may have been the case, but that's definitely not the case now, you know? So like getting into these high schools, almost every school in this area has a trade program. Why are we not talking to the teachers who are dealing with these children every day and saying, hey, do you have somebody who may be looking at that? He may be grade graduate. We have an intern process that he can come and he can go work for Branco, or he can go work for Emory Sapp, or he can work, you know, just as an intern and try to see if that's something that they like, you know, get them more involved with the Build You program or Build My Future program. There's so many resources out there that we are not using to be able to talk to these children. You know, we gotta have people that, the children can relate to get out in front of them, you know, because I know me in high school, if a guy in a suit and tie came to talk to me about, hey, I want you to come work at this company, I'm probably not going to listen to the advice he's giving me, because I'm like, yeah, I don't know you, I can't relate to you. You know what I mean? Leave me alone, dude. I'm trying to go play basketball or whatever, you know? But you start getting people in front of these children that they can relate to, that they can see themselves in, we'll start being able to try to change that narrative. Yeah,
I agree. One thing that my husband did when our grandkids were real small, he would go to their classroom and read books on construction. And then that would start the whole thing of, well, maybe I might want to do that. Maybe I might want to get in the big Tonka, you know, trucks and stuff, and I want to dig. So, yeah.
My daughter actually works at a daycare, and they have a summertime program that will have children in there from the ages of 5 to 15. And they're actually doing a career day. She called me and asked me if I would come speak at it. You know? So right now, it's a little bit of a struggle for me, but I'm putting together a PowerPoint presentation so I can go present to these children, you know, and then basically I'm in the mining industry, so I'm going to take Minecraft and merge it with the construction industry.
Oh, that's so cool.
And say, hey, you can play Minecraft, this is what you do in Minecraft, well, here's what the real thing looks like. We got videos for all of our equipment and stuff running and stuff like that, so I'm gonna just put it all together and, you know, throw in a little presentation together. And that may spark that one child to say, hey, that looks fun. I want to try to blow stuff up.
No kidding. Do y'all hear that? That's an awesome idea. You know? Yeah, that's amazing. So, okay, that's cool. Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, and tell us, what branch of service were you in?
I was in the Army.
Thank you for your service. So we very much, especially, although this will not be aired before the 4th, today is Thursday, isn't it? Yep, and Saturday is the 4th, so this is awesome. So thank you so much for your service. I appreciate it. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will have more coming up for you. Stay tuned, and if you would please hit like and subscribe and share, we would so appreciate it on our YouTube channel. Thank you.